In this instructional demo, we will go over the pink and white dipping powder set with added nail extensions. Please follow the instructions carefully to achieve a professional-looking set of pink and white nails with added tips. First, you must use the Cachet hand sanitizer before you proceed onto the next step of the application. It is important to sanitize your hands and the client's hands before starting any process involving the Cachet dipping powder. Start by using the fine sandband drill bit gently above the surface of each nail. This is to clean the nail, remove shine, and pushes the cuticle up the nail so that the powders will adhere properly to the surface of the nail bed. Do this with every nail for both hands. After gently filing down and cleaning up the nail bed, proceed to add on the nail tips onto the free edge of each nail. Trim the extensions to the desired length. This is the result after adding on the nail extensions. After the nail extensions are added, slightly file the surface of the nail tips so that the dipping powder will adhere properly. Do this for each added nail extension. Continue to brush off the excess dust from the client's nails, and then proceed to file down to the desired shape. First, apply the prep. Prep, or also known as number 1, contains vitamins and nutrients such as calcium and vitamin E to nourish the nails and promote healthy growth. Apply the prep directly onto the cuticles and then onto the rest of the nail. Continuing on, you will need the following number 2 base coat liquid, as well as the French white and the desired pink powders that you will be using for this process. Remember, before you start the dipping process, make sure you hold the containers like so. Flip it upside down to loosen up the powder, creating a consistency for dipping. Flip it back to its upright position. You're then ready to open the jars and begin. When using the base coat or number 2 liquid, it is not recommended to wipe the excess base coat liquid onto the opening of the bottle as shown. After the tips are added, you will often notice a gap or an uneven surface between the tip and the natural nail. This needs to be filled in with the number 2 liquid as well as a pink powder. Using the number 2 base coat, fill in the center of the gap of each finger. Proceed to then dip each finger into the pink powder to fill in the uneven area in between the tip and the natural nail. When you do notice that an area is still wet, continue to dip the finger into the powder to complete the layer. Start by applying the base coat halfway up the nail, and then dipping into the desired powder to create a foundation before starting the actual dipping process. Afterwards, apply the base coat 2/3 of the way up the nail, and then dip the nail into the white powder gently at a 45-degree angle, directly in the center of the jar to create a smile or a curved line. Bend the finger down and away from the jar while tapping to remove any excess powder. Dip the rest of the nail into the pink powder to complete the layer. For the third time, apply the base coat all the way up the nail, making sure not to touch the cuticle surrounding the nail. Again, dip the nail first into the white powder, making sure you are lined up with the first curved line. Remember to tap the finger away from the jar of the white powder. Finish by dipping the nail completely into the pink powder. If you do notice that the nail is still wet, dip into the pink powder several times to make sure that there is enough powder to strengthen the nails. Continue this process for each remaining finger. If you notice that there is a dent that needs to be evened out, use the number 2 base coat onto the affected area and dip into the pink powder to even out the surface. Again, as a reminder, apply the base coat first halfway up the nail, and then dip into the desired powder to first create that foundation before dipping the rest of the nail. Apply the base coat 2/3 of the way up the nail this time, and then dip the nail into the white powder gently at a 45-degree angle to create that curved line. Remember to always bend the finger away from the jar. Dip the rest of the nail into the pink powder to finish the layer. The third time, apply the base coat all the way up the nail, making sure not to touch the cuticles surrounding the nail. Again, dip the nail into the white powder, making sure that you are lined up with the first curved line. Tap the finger away from the jar. Finish by dipping the nail completely into the pink powder. If you notice that there is a dent that needs to be evened out, use the number 2 base coat onto the affected area and dip into the pink powder to even out the surface. Finish by brushing off the nails to remove any excess powder. And then start by adding on the dry coat, or number 3. First, apply it around the cuticle, and then the rest of the nail bed. After the application of the dry coat, wait for approximately 1 minute before applying the base coat, number 2, on top. Adding on the number 2 base coat is to protect and seal in the applied powder. After applying on the number 2 base coat to each finger, wait for approximately 10 to 15 seconds before moving on to the filing process. After the number 2 liquid has dried, continue to file down the nails to the desired shape and size requested by the client, at the same time cleaning underneath the nails as well. When finished filing down the nails, use a very fine drill bit to smooth out the surface of each nail bed. This is to remove any bumps or unwanted ridges on the nail. Make sure not to remove too much from the surface. This would cause the nail to become thin and prone to damage. After smoothing out the surface of the nail bed, buff the top and the bottom of each nail to smooth out the free edge and remove any unwanted bumps on the nails. When you are finished buffing, brush off and clean the hands from dust and powder. Continue on to spray the cachet alcohol to sanitize and clean the surface of the hands and nails. Wipe off completely with a clean hot or dry towel, making sure that the hands are dry and clean afterwards. After cleaning off the hands, apply a layer of dry coat or number 3 onto the cuticles and the entire nail. The number 3 dry coat is used to help the next number 4 top coat liquid dry quicker. This process is required. If the next number 4 coat you add on does not dry, it means that this coat was not applied. Wipe down each finger with a soft tissue to clean up, at the same time removing any excess residue from under the nail. The main purpose of wiping down the nails is to remove excess number 3 liquid so that the brush of the next applied coat does not dry off. After, apply the glossy top coat, or number 4. Make sure that the first coat is applied on quickly so that the brush doesn't dry out. The second coat can be more detailed, covering the entire nail bed. Make sure to seal the free edge carefully to ensure the longevity of the nail. Using a fan or by air drying, let the nails dry for approximately 2 minutes before moving on to the next process. Using the Cachet cuticle oil, which contains vitamins A and E, brush the cuticles of each nail only, and then proceed to massage upwards towards the finger, not towards the nail. This process is to soften the cuticles and to promote growth, as well as providing nutrients to the nails. Remember that with the cuticle oil, always to massage upward towards the finger, not towards the nail. After finishing up the last step, your client now has a beautiful set of nails using the Cachet Dipping Powder. Using the applied methods, you can achieve the desired look using the pink and white set with tips. For more information, visit www.cachetdp.com or contact us at 561-358-0026.